One of the main issues I believe our species is facing is chatter. Approximately 1/3 to half of our waking hours are spent outside of the current moment. And in that moment, what do? We are conversing with ourselves. Your inner voice is the ability to reflect on your life using words in a silent way. The dark side of the inner voice is referred to as chatter. We never discover answers when we focus only on ourselves in an attempt to understand our challenges. We wind up fretting, dwelling, and becoming paralyzed. Our inner voice, this amazing tool we have, becomes a curse instead of a blessing when we get caught up in a negative cycle. Hello, my name is Kross. I teach management and psychology, and I'm the author of Chatter, The Voice in Our Head, Why It Matters, and How to Harness It. Regarding the question of whether the inner voice has an evolutionary purpose, a number of experts contend that language is a tool that aids in our navigation of the environment, and that our capacity to use language to communicate not just with others but also with ourselves gives us a survival advantage. It's a fantastic tool for solving problems. Our inner voice is a component of our verbal working memory system, which is at the most fundamental end of the range. It's a fundamental aspect of the human mind that keeps spoken information fresh in our minds. We can also plan and simulate thanks to our inner voice. Prior to a big presentation, I will mentally prepare my speech and go over the many talking points I will cover. I will also listen for any questions the audience may have, and I will then answer each one in turn. I'm utilizing my inner voice to guide me while I simulate that conversation. Our inner voice aids in self-control. When was the last time you felt the temptation to reach for a treat late at night but refrained, knowing that you would regret it the next day? That is the voice within you. Finally, the inner voice assists us in storifying our life. A lot of us focus inward to create a story that helps us make sense of our experiences and shapes our perception of ourselves as individuals. Thus, at times this inner voice can be a great aid, but other times it can truly bring us to our knees. It is quite difficult for us to focus, to start. Our concentration is taken up by chatter. Because you are not a good listener and you are constantly talking about your difficulties, chatter can also cause conflict in your relationships. In addition, it may increase our level of irritability and provoke displaced hostility. Lastly, we are aware that excessive talking might have detrimental impacts on one's physical health. The saying, "stress kills," is probably not entirely accurate. An extremely adaptable reaction is a stress response. When stress levels are consistently high over an extended period of time, it becomes poisonous. And that's exactly what chatter does. When we go through a stressful event in life, our mental chatter keeps it going longer. We find ourselves thinking about that incident repeatedly, and that sustains that stress response in ways that can be predictive of conditions like cancer, chronic inflammation, and cardiovascular disease. It's difficult to exaggerate how detrimental gossip can be. The good news is that you can take back control of your inner voice with the use of a science-based tool set. There are things we can accomplish independently, strategies for utilizing our interpersonal connections, and even methods for engaging with our physical surroundings. Rituals are one excellent illustration of these tools. We adore being in charge. You frequently feel as though your ideas are in charge of you while you are surrounded by talk. Science has taught us that one method to counteract this feeling of being out of control is to establish order around us. Rituals are one way to do this. A ritual is a set of coordinated actions that you follow religiously, following the same steps each time and doing them in the same order. You're feeling in control and in order thanks to that. That can be really satisfying when you're bogged down in conversation. The great Rafael Nadal often claimed that controlling his inner critics is the hardest thing he has to do when playing tennis. He performs ceremonies. He approaches his bench during play breaks. He starts by sipping from one water bottle. Subsequently, he drinks from another. Next, he returns every water bottle to its original location by moving diagonally toward the court. He goes through this routine to control his chatter. There are no one-size-fits-all chatter management methods that are effective in every circumstance. The true difficulty lies in determining which special combinations of tools are most effective for you. Are you less strong as a result of the chatter? Not at all. Welcome to the human condition. You are human because you are experiencing chatter.